Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Archon Esports bringing you another 1v1 StarCraft 2 cast today. Excellent. Today is a bit of a special one. You know why? It is Mother's Day today, and as you can probably guess, we have two Protoss in the arena, and one thing is definitely going to happen. But I tell you what, if you can't figure out what the relevance for Mother's Day is for this, and what's going to happen with two Protoss in the game, then just wait and find out, but I'm sure you've probably guessed. So, this is as I've said previously, a 1v1 game. I believe it's actually ladder on the European servers between two mid-level Masters players, I'd say. Yeah, not bad. So, not to delay it anymore, in the top right-hand corner we have our blue Protoss, whose name is Mello. Awesome. And then the polar opposite, both in position and style of music, we have our red Protoss, who is called Mello. Excellent. Cool. As I say, both of these players are from Europe, which happens to be where Britain is situated, therefore is where I am, which is quite nice, really, I suppose, which is really, really cool. Both players playing, pretty much standardly. It's a fairly standard Protoss opener. Well, it is pretty much the most standard Protoss opener when playing against other Protoss. You don't really want to be doing anything else at this point in time, unless you are a freakishly good player like, I don't know, Grubby, or of course if you're just cheesing, you'd just build a forge instead of a gateway, or a pylon in your opponent's base, or something like that, something a little bit more cheese-tacular. Awesome, so the map today is Cloud Kingdom. Excellent, which, to be honest, always makes me think of Super Mario Brothers. I do like this map because it's got a nice tight choke here. It makes it very playable indeed for Protoss players. Because obviously, when you force field, you can split up your opponent's army and do all sorts of damage, especially when your composition has things like Colossi or High Templar in. It can do a hell of a lot of damage very, very quickly. Mello doing a little bit of blocking of Metal Cybernetics core there, but Metal just slamming it down. In the meantime, not even looking. I like this pro's style. He managed to slam the Cybernetics core down literally as he wasn't even looking, which is pretty cool. Excellent. And we do have the second assimilator on the way as well, which would say to me perhaps he's going to go for a robo or something like that. Okay, and then back down here in the bottom left hand corner we have Mello, who has just started his warp gate research. There we go, and is getting another gateway out as well, which is again fairly normal, I'd say. And that's about that. Really good times. And we have a Zealot coming out of the map, out of metal space right now. One thing, actually, I was playing some twos with my twos partner tonight, and one or two of the maps on the twos ladders have really bad positioned Xel'Naga watchtowers. Like, they'll be positioned here and here on the map. You see my mouse on the mini-map. And you can just run straight through the middle of the map. I mean, unless you get into really, really late mid-game into late game, which in my experience doesn't happen all that often in twos matches, because you players generally tend to cheese each other quite a lot in twos, and do a lot of really, really aggressive early pushes and stuff like that just to get the better of their opponents. And amount matters a lot more than composition in general in StarCraft, but in twos it matters even more. It's almost paramount, actually. But anyway, back to my original point, gone with a massive rampage here, a tangent some might say, is that these Xel'Naga towers are in pretty good position. I really, really like them here actually, because it means that obviously when you own one of the Xel'Naga watchtowers, you simply will just see your opponent going through the middle of the map, and we see Mello right now having a little bit of a fun time trying to go into metal space with a Stalker. This Zealot is not having any of it, but it does look like, and another force field going down on the ramp, of course, again, which will help Metal stop this attack from happening all too quickly. But there is an Immortal out on the field now from Metal, and of course Immortals are very, very good units indeed, especially against those Stalkers. Stalkers can suffer quite a bit against them. Now Mello is, in my opinion, wow, what happened to my sound? That's crazy. Mello probably is doing this aggression, a little bit of a push. Nothing too serious. He wants to pull back because obviously Immortals do eat Stalkers somewhat, and Metal is quite rightly getting another Immortal out as well. But he's doing it mainly to probably cover his expansion that he's been doing, which is very, very good indeed. And yes, again, I just thought I'd mention again, for an arbitrary reason, it is a Mother's Day. It is a Mother's Day cast today. So yes, I'm fairly sure there's a mothership in this game, unless it was not labelled correctly, which, you know, would be annoying, but you know what, I hope there is, because I try not to watch the games before I cast them, that's my point. But anyway, starting out on the mothership route, we do have 2 Stargates on the way from Mello right now, so it does look like we might get some Void Rays out, first of all, or maybe some Phoenix to come and harass his opponent's mineral line. Another good thing is really, I mean, I think Mello is kind of clogged onto the fact that his opponent is building a lot of Immortals, and Immortals unfortunately can't shoot up, even though they do rotate their cannons upward like that quite a lot while they're doing nothing. And let's see if we can see an Immortal doing that, because they do it. I'm sure anyone that watched, there you go, look, he's pointing his guns up, but they can't shoot up, unfortunately. I think it's a little bit too much of a heave. It's like that, it's like the idea that dogs can't look up, which is a question that has been asked through the ages. Can dogs actually look directly up? It is more or less the same sort of thing as if Immortals can look directly up and shoot what they like up there. Anyway, right, so we have a Phoenix coming out here from Mello, and it does look like he'll be just using it to scout around his opponent's base a little bit, and he will probably see the Robotics Bay and the Colossus on the way, or at least I'd say it's safe to presume that that's a Colossus on the way for Mello. Sorry, Mello would be safe to presume that anyway. And here we do have the mighty Colossus walking across the natural expansion there for Metal. Awesome. For those of you, and by the way, there aren't many of you who actually watch my casts regularly, you'll notice that I haven't really been around all too much. It's just due to university work. I really intend to get back on it in the casting, you know, in a quite big way soon, hopefully, and I have a reasonably large announcement to make as regards to this channel and all sorts of other little bits. So, you know, I have plans. I know it's a very small thing right now, but I do have plans. Yes. So, these units here that can't actually shoot up are in fact probably hiding from these Phoenixes. I mean, these Immortals right here would make a tasty treat for said Phoenix. So, I think Metal will want to be a bit careful. These probes will get sniped pretty quickly by these Phoenixes. I think the Phoenix Harass is one of these really annoying things that is very temperamental, because obviously the graviton beam that the Phoenixes have really relies on how much energy they have, and it, well, essentially means that they can't harass as much as they'd like, because otherwise all of these probes would be gone right now. Phoenixes do have to sit back for a while and wait for some energy to recover before they can do it and do their whole amount of damage like this. But quite rightly, of course, Metal getting out some Stalkers right now and chasing the Phoenixes out of his base. Excellent. We also have a Twilight Council coming on, and I dare say that we'll probably see Blink pretty soon as well, because, you know, Blink's, yeah, there's our Blink. Blink's pretty good when you're trying to counter air units, because it means you can just blink your Stalkers and get them right under there, and we do have more and more aggression coming here from Mello. I wouldn't really say it's aggression, actually. Let me just sidestep there and say that it's a little bit of harassment. Metal losing a reasonable amount of probes, actually. Not the best thing that could be happening to him right now, but then again, certainly not the worst, as, you know, who knows what could happen in StarCraft 2. That's something that makes it a bright shining beacon of a game for the esports community in general. And the reason why I like it so much as well. Hooray! Awesome, so that Blink is going to be looking like it's going to be wrapping up fairly soon for Metal, and that will help him control this Void Ray. God, Mello wishes this Phoenix Harass. It will help him control that pretty soon. Good times. But, I mean, Phoenixes themselves can't really take on this many Stalkers. You'd have to have some pretty fantastic micro to be able to take on this many Stalkers with that many Phoenixes. Again, down to the Graviton Beam, etc., etc. And there is that Blink going into effect right now. those Stalkers almost catching up with the Phoenixes and taking a couple of them down. And it does look like Mello will have to transition. And was he transitioned into? That's right, Mothership. Happy Mother's Day. He's making it on the other one. There we go. Happy Mother's Day. Hooray. And what does the Mothership do that's so mothering? Well, she cloaks all of the Protoss units underneath her, much like a penguin sitting on an egg. And occasionally she'll give enemy units a nice big cuddle called a Vortex. That's another thing she can do. But hey, I mean, if you're watching this, then you probably play StarCraft, so I'm not going to sit here and gibber on about what motherships do, as I'm sure you guys are fully aware of this. And hopefully we'll see some of the things the mothership does. Anyway, we have carriers on the way as well, which in themselves are kind of a mothery unit. They do hold things and then spew them out occasionally as well. Also the Graviton Catapult as well, it helps how quickly the things come out of the carriers, the interceptors come out of the carriers. So this is good times. This is good times for Mello. It's a bit extreme. I dare say that Metal probably isn't expecting this, as going carriers and especially kind of going motherships. Well, actually, I suppose more going carriers is what could be considered a little bit unorthodox. For a competitive game where you don't want to be losing your points or anything like that, such as on ladder. And there we go, we do have the Stalkers blinking underneath the Phoenixes again. This could do quite a large amount of damage, unfortunately, for Mello's Phoenixes. If he's not careful, that's why he's just scouting around with them at the moment, not daring to stop and use them on any of the probes or anything like that. These Stalkers from Metal are racing around the map trying to find the Phoenixes, but unfortunately they have gone with their much, much faster move speed. And weapons +1 on the way for Mello, and more carriers as well. And it does look at this point like Metal could be in a little bit of trouble. Well, perhaps. That Colossus is going to count for nothing, unfortunately, because of how many Phoenix his opponent has. And we do have some harassment coming down now from Mello, but seeing that this is on the way with his probe positioned at the Xel'Naga Watchtower, he is going to be pulling those Phoenixes back in order to help his army defend his base, which is a very, very good idea indeed. Despite Mello having a mothership, it doesn't necessarily mean he's won. Unfortunately for him. But hey, carriers are pretty beast. I mean, the big issue with carriers is they're so slow, and you can get so many units underneath them so easily. But they are the highest, or at least last time I checked, they are the highest DPS dealing unit in the game. So that's got to count for something. And what's better than just carriers? Stealth carriers. Yeah. So that is good times. And here we go. We do have some of the children spewing out of the mothership and going to be doing some damage on those destructible rocks. And actually, just look how quickly those rocks go down. That's ridiculous. Just a little snippet of how much DPS the carriers can actually do. It's pretty frightening. But as I say, they're quite easily countered. That's one of their main problems, unfortunately, and thus it leads them to not be used so much. High level, like really good high level players do use them occasionally. I know that Huck uses them sometimes, and he is pretty good. He's about as high level as, well, he's good basically. Awesome. So here we do have that blink underneath from the Stalkers, and they do look like they'll be trying to take down the mothership. Ooh, and the carriers as well are failing, unfortunately, to this Stalker aggression. But there's quite a lot of DPS coming out of these carriers. These Phoenixes lifting up every single Stalker and letting the carriers do their damage completely unopposed. But more Stalkers flooding in right now as well. Maybe realizing that this is a fight that he can't win. The Immortals are looking to be shuffling away a little bit now from Metal. And now Metal is in a very difficult spot where he can't actually shoot any of his opponent's units, and that is a really bad thing as well. I mean, Mello's units may as well be invulnerable right about now. Boom, and down goes an Immortal right there as well. Oh dear. So there's a pretty even engagement, I think. both players losing quite a lot of stuff. Not many of these Phoenixes have gone down at the moment, and it does look like Mello is going to seize the day and quickly run into... Maybe not. I thought he was going to go into his opponent's base and do a little bit of damage, but no. Instead, he's probably going to take these Stalkers and blink underneath, or just move underneath. Why not? No, there's a blink underneath of a carrier that was trying to escape, and I dare say that we're going to see loads and loads of Graviton catapults coming down on these Stalkers as well. And happy Mother's Day. It is another mothership on the way, and that is a GG from Metal. So that's that. He actually probably GG'd because he's mined out his main, and he's about to mine out his natural. His opponent has quite a lot of army and most of the map control. There's a lot of really, really nice units on the map from Mello. And of course, who wouldn't GG? Well, I don't know. Anyway, guys, sorry about the quality of casting. I think I just want to do like a Mother's Day one, just for the lols, as it were. And that's that. But yeah, expect a lot of casting coming out soon from me. If you liked it, don't forget to comment or like or subscribe, or do all three. If you didn't like it, don't worry about it, that's cool. Just don't do any of those things, so you can either dislike or write a comment with good feedback. Hooray! Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day, and I will see you next time. Cheers, goodbye.